Welcome back to the Athletic Edge, where we talk all things sports. Last week we talked about soccer. This week we're going to focus on the NFL and all the biggest news around it. Stay tuned.
High drive, deep center field. Back goes Thomas at the wall. It's gone. Nando. Saleh's going to have a go. Absolutely sensational. One push gone. He scored. Chris Carter.
4th and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness!
All right, let's get right into our first segment this week called Hope or Nope. All right, Hope or Nope is just a clever name for a segment that covers the city's excitement levels for NFL teams. If the team has hope or if the team doesn't have hope. Let's start off with the teams that I think have hope this year. This one's an obvious one, the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it comes as no shock to us. The Cowboys are 2-0. Started off the year very good. They're unstoppable, it seems. Played both of the New York teams, New York Giants, they shut them out 40-0. New York Jets, they beat as well. The interesting thing to me for these Cowboys is they've put up 70 points for, and they've only conceded 10 points against. I think a main reason for this is because they have the best defense in the league. The Dallas Cowboys have an incredibly evened out defense. And they have stars in positions like Micah Parsons, probably the best defensive player in the National Football League. But it's not just him, it's everyone else around him. They have good cornerbacks, good safeties, good linebackers. It's just the Cowboys defense is undoubtedly the best in the league. And it's showing in these first two games as they have only conceded 10 points against. So almost Americans are hating the fact that the Cowboys have started this year off so strong and are playing so well. I can tell you this, the Cowboys fans are incredibly happy and excited for this team. They're pumped and they're ready to see this team go on a Super Bowl run. All right, the next team that I think has hope this year is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles have hope this year and in years to come. And the reason I'm saying this is because they are a relatively young team. If you look at the positions of main importance, their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is 25 years old. Their running back, DeAndre Swift, is 24 years old. And they have a new defensive tackle, Jalen Carter, who's 22 years old. And it seems like they're playing some of their best football. They're 2-0, like the Cowboys. And they have had a taste of what the Super Bowl could be like from previous years. Their narrow loss this past year has made Philly fans and Philly players just want that even more. And I think with this young team, it looks as if they can achieve that because they're playing some good football, energetic football, and Philadelphia Eagle fans are excited, not just for this year, but for years to come because this team is playing well. They're still young. Hopefully for Philadelphia fans, they can win it this year. If not, no real worries because they're still probably going to have most of their core next year and years to come. All right, the last team that I'm talking about that has hope, in my opinion, is the Miami Dolphins. And this Dolphins team has surprised probably all NFL fans, including Miami fans. Now, I think a lot of us thought that this Dolphins team could be good, but the way that they've been performing for these first 2 weeks, they're undefeated, of course, have blown us away. I mean, I know they've blown me away. And I think the main reason for that is their young star quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. I talked about him in my Week 1 recap for the NFL, but he is playing like a seasoned star veteran. And for a young quarterback to be doing that with a team that's building off of his confidence, it's just making these Dolphins look like the real deal. And like I said, I know I didn't expect this team to be playing like this, and I don't think most football fans did. But after watching them Week 1 and Week 2, I can confidently say I think this team will be in playoff contention and maybe even the Super Bowl. That might be a little bit of a stretch. We'll have to see how this team plays because they could be the real deal, but only time will tell. They have a young team. Tua Tagovailoa is playing very well with their number one wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. So time will tell about these Dolphins, but one thing's for certain, Miami fans are very excited about the future of this team. This year, they think that they have an exciting team. They're a fast-playing team, and they could be in Super Bowl contention. If not this year, Then Tua Tagovailoa, still a young quarterback who is looking like the real deal and could lead this team to greatness in years to come. All right, on to the teams that I do not think have hope, so the Nopes. And these probably come as no surprise. The first one is the Arizona Cardinals. Although the Cardinals had a decent year 2 years ago with a record of 11-6, they followed that up with an embarrassing 4-13 record this past year, so the next year after that. And their lack of a solid defense is going to prove costly, in my opinion. Especially in positions like cornerback. They have no real cornerbacks that are good, but they just don't seem to have the defense. So on one end, we've talked about the Dallas Cowboys, who have the best defense in the league. Now, this is probably the exact opposite. One of the worst defenses in the league, in my opinion, in the Arizona Cardinals. And I think that's where they're really lacking. Not to say their offense has been good at all, but their defense is what's screwing them over, in my opinion. On top of that, Arizona fans seem to be fed up with how their state is dealing with their sports teams. I mean, like I said, they have the Arizona Cardinals, who are just not performing and don't look like they could really do anything this year, which is already adding on some distress to the fans. But on top of that, Arizona has the Coyotes, which, if you're following hockey, Coyotes are one of the worst teams in the league. And they've been like that for quite some time now. There are all these rumors about the Coyotes moving, and at this point, I don't know who'd really oppose it. There are fans who love the Coyotes in Arizona. But year after year, this team is not performing. Neither are the Cardinals, and Arizona fans are getting fed up. The only thing that Arizona fans are excited for and happy for are the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have been an unexpected surprise. But football-wise, the fans are fed up and not excited for this team. All right, the next and final team that I'm going to talk about that has no hope is the Houston Texans. I mean, Houston hasn't really been much of a threat for these past few years at all. And I think the main reason for this, single-handedly, is they have the worst quarterback tandem in the league. I mean, when you're looking at other teams that have star quarterbacks and then okay quarterbacks that could back them up, and then you look over here at Houston, who has Mills as their starting quarterback and then Keenum as their backup quarterback, I mean, it's kind of a joke, as I just laughed at. This team has no offensive threat. They have no energy. They've been like this for a couple years now, and you can see Houston fans just don't really seem to be excited for this team. That's why I'm saying they have absolutely no hope for the Super Bowl this year. Okay, on to the next segment. This is a personal favorite of mine. It's called Rival Talk. And the name kind of describes what it is. It is just me describing the best rivalries in the National Football League. And I know there are a ton of them. And throughout our videos in the year, I will go over them. But I'm going to go over one rivalry every time that we have Rival Talk. And this one that I've decided to pick is one of my favorites to watch. It's probably not the top one out there. But I think this one, for a neutral fan base to just turn on a game, you're always going to get a game where you're pleasantly surprised. And I'm talking about a game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. There are a multitude of reasons why I'm choosing this game as one of the best rivalries, and why this game is one of the best rivalries. It's not just my opinion. It's a fact throughout the NFL that these two teams hate each other. And one of the reasons for this is that the fan bases hate each other. When you go to a game, whether it's in Pittsburgh or whether it's in Baltimore, there are going to be fans from each side, of course, and there is no fan getting together. It is just pure chaos and hate between each other, and that kind of makes for a great game when you have fans that just want nothing to do with the other team and are going to boo them no matter what. It just makes for an exciting game. Another reason for this is because a game between the Steelers and the Ravens have always seemed to build up energy between the two. And now, this could be partly credited to players like Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Hein Wards, and Big Ben Roethlisberger, all playing in the past, who made for some of the best matchups in league history. And some of those players really play with just pure energy, like ice in their veins. And I think the main one to stick out is probably Ray Lewis. That guy playing for the Ravens, I don't know, if you're a running back and you're going up against Ray Lewis, he's about to tackle you, I would be scared for my life. But that makes for a great rivalry when you have star players that just play for one another on their team and then look across and see players that they hate. It just makes for a great rivalry and an energetic game. And also, you can't forget that moment when Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin interfered with Baltimore's kickoff in 2013, which resulted in a $100,000 fine for the coach. And it started a lot of controversy. It caused more spark for debate. It caused more hate between the two sides. It's just, whenever the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens are playing, it is a must-watch, not only for Steelers and Ravens fans, but for all of the NFL. And that is why it is on my Rival Talk and is one of the best rivalries in the National Football League. All right, on to our next segment, and it is one that we have done in the past. It is Injury Insight. Injury Insight is just a segment that covers the injuries that could majorly affect teams. And there are plenty of injuries out there, but I just choose the few that could really influence a team. And some of these you guys may already know. I'm going to go into depth about them, but these injuries are costly for their team for multiple reasons. The first injury I'm going to talk about is Aaron Rodgers. Now, we all know Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles in Week 1 versus the Buffalo Bills. I think every football fan was sad to see that happen. The guy just signed, a lot of hype going around that he could take this New York Jets team to the next level, and now he's out. He's going to miss the rest of the season with a torn Achilles, and this is a huge loss for the Jets. Not only because he provides great leadership, he was their hype. He was the guy that the Jets were going to rely on, but also because their backup quarterback doesn't seem to have it. Zach Wilson came into the game against Buffalo, and he played well. But then he couldn't follow that up with a good game in Week 2 versus the Cowboys. Now, that was against the Cowboys. Take that into consideration. But he did not play like a starting quarterback. And they will miss Aaron Rodgers desperately. The Jets, after Week 1, people thought this team could be a winning team. But without Aaron Rodgers, with Zach Wilson as quarterback, I don't know. We'll see if they go after anyone to sign anyone, or we'll see if Zach Wilson proves us wrong. I don't know, but Aaron Rodgers being out with a torn Achilles for the rest of the year will prove costly for the Jets. All right, and the next major injury I'm going to talk about is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb hurt himself in Week 2 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it wasn't just one thing that happened to him. He got a dislocated knee, 3 torn ligaments, and cartilage damage. So, that is some sad stuff for anybody, but especially for Cleveland's star running back. There's no exact timeline when he is expected to be back, but Cleveland head coach Kevin Stefanski said he is out for sure for the rest of 2023. So he may return sometime in 2024, but that is a big loss for Cleveland, having one of their biggest offensive threats gone for the rest of the 2023 year. Cleveland did respond to this, unlike the Jets when they lost one of their main players. Cleveland responded by signing Kareem Hunt to a 1-year deal for up to $4 million. And Kareem Hunt has been a proven football player for some years now, and I think he's a great player. Kareem Hunt is a reliable running back. Is he Nick Chubb level? No, not at all. But at least that's going to be someone that they can have on their roster. Without Nick Chubb, this team is lacking, for sure. They have Deshaun Watson, who's been playing well in these first 2 games, but Nick Chubb is going to be a huge loss for them. We'll see how Kareem Hunt plays, and we'll see how the offense deals without them. But this injury is going to be a big one that affects Cleveland no matter what. All right, on to our next and final segment of the video. I know I have covered most of this stuff relatively quickly. There is a lot of information that I have tried to condense so the video doesn't become boring. But if you guys want longer videos with more information, please comment down below. Let me know. With the segment that is going to be covered in all sports, it is my upcoming Game of the Week. My Game of the Week is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. Now, I chose this game for a multitude of reasons. I'm sure most of us are going to tune into that game because it is the only game on Monday night, and we all love watching Monday Night Football. But both teams have started the year off undefeated. I think the Philadelphia Eagles have a bit more hype revolved around them than the Buccaneers. And since the Buccaneers lost Tom Brady, this is going to be really interesting to see how they will manage with new quarterback Baker Mayfield, who's been all right. He's been doing the job for Tampa Bay. But we'll see if he can do it against a good Eagles team. And for the Eagles, it'll be a good test to see if they can put up a full performance against a tougher opponent. And one of these teams is going to stop having an undefeated record. It's going to be 3-0 or 2-1-0 or 2-0-1, depending on if it goes for that long. But this will be a fun game to watch, and I think it is probably the best game to watch, even though it is on Monday night and not one of the Sunday games. I think this is, if you're going to tune into one game throughout the entire week of Week 3, I think it's got to be the Buccaneers versus the Eagles. And that will do it for episode number 2 of The Athletic Edge, where we covered the NFL. Thank you for tuning in so much. Be sure to tune in next week where we cover the MLB and the biggest news around the MLB, awards that might be happening, playoffs that are coming up, the wild card race, everything you need to know. But till then, this has been The Athletic Edge. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, all that crap. I'll see you guys next week.